Dødssang is the fifth full-length album from Nortt, a blackened funeral doom metal band, and one that has always kind of been a little bit of a forerunner in the whole idea of mixing black metal with funeral doom. Granted, there were very early projects in the 90s in the very early 90s that fused a lot of the more disparate elements of funeral doom metal with black metal ideas and atmosphere. There was some ambient groups that are worth mentioning, but Nortt were maybe the first one to put it into practicum that made sense in terms of black metal instrumentation, and they've long been one of the best to really take care to bring black metal atmosphere to funeral doom metal without cheesing it up. And what I mean is that they came from a very depressive, serious, and kind of DSBM kind of feeling early on, and that changed with much different tones over time. He became much more musical and interested in the musicianship just as well as the unique sound design. So the early records for this band are kind of a trip through unique sound design on most of the records. Each one, even the demos, were very refined, but they had really scratchy guitar tones. It was stylized in a way that was exciting at the time, and I think around that time, funeral doom metal was kind of popular. A lot of people were taking really weird stabs at it that were just awful, mainstream garbage, and Nortt was a unique note at the time that I would say peaked for that early interest with Ligfaert, and it's a favorite record of mine. It's one I return to quite a bit. In terms of funeral doom metal, it's one that just feels unique. It feels like a point that's just something I love to return to as a fan of funeral doom metal with a unique avant-garde touch to it. It's been a while since that 1995 to about 2007 run of the band, and it was about 10 years until he came back with a record I reviewed favorably and enjoyed with Endelicht, but I didn't expect it to be another 7 years for this one. And I guess we'll cut to a clip here and we'll see how much has changed. You'll note right away that the sound design is different, but the musicianship is really what's interesting me about this new record. So the notes that I would give for this latest full-length album from Nortt really center around the fact that it is quite a bit more piano-driven. It is more minimalist in its recording, and it is much more focused on musical moments. And well, what does that mean in terms of funeral doom metal? Is that they go somewhere with the melodies. They drive through slowly. Granted, all points of the recording have been refined. Everything has been stripped down to the most necessary elements, and they've built up a unique walk through this very much appropriately funereal and ancient sounding record, and it isn't so saturated with ideas. And I think one of the things I liked about Endelicht was that it was full of ideas. It was kind of brimming with you could tell that there was a lot of ideas put into it. It had been worked on for a long time. And the difference with this record is that a lot of those same sensibilities and ideas and the piano-driven notion of it are there, but they've stripped back a lot of the layers of the guitars. They've focused in on reining in the drum sound a little bit. It sounds more dynamic and not brighter, but the grotesque way that funeral doom metal should without being completely destroyed sonically. And I think that really ends up counting as the different song types show up and different focuses in terms of building melody with both guitar and piano. It makes for a record that is doom by nature and in tone, but also it has a little bit of that gothic earliest funeral doom. I guess their Gothen would be the point of reference. It does feel like this is purposely a funereal form and moment, and it carries through this record in a very cold and not so exaggerated way. It's a difficult thing to kind of explain. I kind of go through it a bit in the review, is that there's really a devotion to funeral doom metal that is in this record that we haven't quite felt in everything that Nortt has done. So it's not a callback to the past, but it is an ancient feeling blackened funeral doom metal record in the style of Nortt. And I think where I end up with the review is there's just nobody else who quite sounds like this, and it makes it all the more exciting to get to know and spend time with this record, because there just won't be another one of these until Nortt shows back up. And so I found that is a very entertaining prospect for me. It's something that I really enjoy. I'd like to hear a lot more funeral doom with value and personality that isn't so focused on being cryptic and hidden. And I think this is a good example of how you can still be a serious funeral doom metal event and not completely buried under the dirt. And so very fine work from Nortt here. I'm not really sure how long a record like this will last on the shelf until I've spent more time with it. I think that funeral doom metal really demands patience and reflection and time spent, and I think this is a unique artist with a big discography, and knowing where it sits will just take a little bit more time. So this could be one of my favorites at the end of the year. It just depends how much it calls to me time and again. So check it out for yourself, see what you think. It released on May 28th digitally, but it released, I believe, April 4th physically. So check that out for yourself and read the review for more of my thoughts in depth.